What is up, guys? Delboy here. So this weekend we get to see Sor Rungvisai versus Juan Estrada. To me, this fight is the best fight of the year so far. To me, this fight has pound for pound level implications. The winner of this fight should be in a pound for pound list as far as I'm concerned. It's an excellent clash of styles, and the styles, in my opinion, should gel quite well. And both guys are coming off, very impressive wins at a very high level. Sor Rungvisai captured the WBC Super Flyweight title back on the 18th of March last year, and he beat Roman Gonzalez by a majority decision on the undercard of Gennady Golovkin versus Danny Jacobs. A lot of people felt he lost that fight to Roman Gonzalez, so naturally they had a rematch, and in the rematch in September, Rungvisai just absolutely demolished Roman Gonzalez. He walked through him, he beat him down, and he knocked him out, in which was, in my opinion, the most impressive performance of all of last year out of any fighter. I felt he was really good that night. The intensity, the power, it was just all there. The hunger, great performance. Whereas Estrada is coming off a razor-close win over Carlos Cuadras, another top level super flyweight. So both guys are coming off excellent wins over high level opposition. Let's talk about both guys and their dimensions and things of that nature. Sor Rungvisai has a record of 44 wins, 4 defeats, 1 draw. 40 of those 44 wins coming by way of stoppage. Estrada, he has a record of 36 wins, 2 defeats, 0 draws. 25 of those 36 wins coming by way of stoppage. If we look at the dimensions quickly, Rungvisai is listed as 5'3" with a 63.5-inch reach, and Estrada is listed as 5'4" with a 66-inch reach. So Estrada actually has a 2.5-inch reach advantage, and he also has a 1-inch height advantage. So in terms of length and height, obviously Estrada does have some advantages, and theoretically that could actually play into his hands. Obviously Estrada is the more natural boxer, he's the counterpuncher, he's the technician in there, but despite Estrada being the longer guy and the taller guy, I don't think he's going to be the bigger guy in terms of weight. Rungvisai is actually a career super flyweight. He's been competing at that weight class his whole career, whereas Estrada actually has competed at flyweight. He's made flyweight numerous times, and this is his second weight class. So in terms of actual weight, I think Rungvisai could be the bigger guy. Rungvisai was a lot bigger than Roman Gonzalez as far as I was concerned, and it's clear he does rehydrate a little bit for a lighter weight class. So yeah, maybe in terms of weight, Rungvisai could have the edge. And that may play a factor given his style. He likes to apply pressure. If he can get on top of Estrada, it's going to be interesting to see how he copes with that. But stylistically, this fight should gel. Rungvisai is a southpaw pressure fighter. He does use his jab to jab his way in, but when he's up close, when he's in the mid-range, he'll just let his hands go. He'll try and crack that straight left hand down the pipe. He's got a lovely right hook as well. He can throw uppercuts on the inside. Rungvisai he's a pressure fighter. He does get hit, he does get caught, but his punch output is great. His punch power is great, and his punch variety is actually very good as well. He's very good at fighting on the inside and the mid-range, and his best asset as far as I'm concerned is how he closes the distance, how he closes the gap. He's not slow on his feet. He's a good pressure fighter. Like I said, jabs his way in. He does feint his way in. He'll take a step to his left, step to his right when he's cutting off a ring. He is quite an accomplished pressure fighter. He's not a methodical guy like Golovkin who cuts off a ring. He's more like, he brings a more intense pressure, but he does still cut the ring off quite well. Not as technically as proficient as a Golovkin type, but he does cut the ring off very well as far as I'm concerned. And given the way his style looks, given it's so reckless, it does look reckless, but I do think his skill set is more subtle than people realise. Like I said, I have seen him feinting his way in. I've seen him jab his way in. You know, he is good at closing range. That's his best strength, as far as I'm concerned. And when he is on the inside, he's a buzzsaw. He'll work that body. He'll throw uppercuts through the middle. You know, and he'll try and break you down. Also, Rungvisai, he's actually very good in the exchanges. When he's exchanging with a fighter, he keeps his composure very well, and he can maintain his accuracy. We saw that with Gonzalez, especially with the second the second fight with a knockout. You know, he dropped Gonzalez originally. Gonzalez gets up. Gonzalez is fighting for his life, and obviously Gonzalez is trying to throw to get Rungvisai off of him, but Rungvisai exchanges with him and actually times Gonzalez very well with some good shots, and he also times him with a knockout shot as well. So Rungvisai is better than people give him credit for. He's not just a pressure fighter. He's a pressure fighter with a good jab. He's a pressure fighter with excellent power, great punch output, very good offensive footwork. You know, he does do things well. He's not this C-level guy that people make out. He's not this guy who only relies on power. He's a very, very good fighter who brings immense pressure. Immense pressure. You know, people like to hark back to Margarito and people like that. This guy's a lot more skilled than a Margarito. He really is. Estrada, to me, people compare him to Juan Manuel Marquez, and I can see that. He's a counter-puncher. He's a fighter whose technique is very polished in the way he throws his shots. He's got good distance control. He's got a lovely jab when he uses it. A good body puncher. You know, he's a good boxer, and when he lets his hands go, he can put his shots together quite well. He's a thinking fighter. He's more of a ring general. You know, he is a counter-puncher at heart. And he has got the ability to time Rungvisai coming in. He's got a lovely straight right hand down the pipe. Lovely left hook, right uppercut. You know, again, I mean, he's got excellent punch variety, and he's got excellent timing. And obviously, Rungvisai, when he's being aggressive, he's going to give Estrada the opportunities to counter. So the opportunities are going to be there for Estrada, and I'm sure he'll take them. But it's just how Rungvisai reacts to Estrada's power. That's the question to me in this fight, because if Estrada doesn't have enough to keep Rungvisai off of him, then this fight will get very, very hard very, very quickly. And my worry is, with Estrada, although he's a very good counterpuncher, with great timing, you know, great technical skills, I do think sometimes he is guilty of having a low punch output. And that's all well and good when the opponent isn't throwing back and when you're landing the cleaner, clearer, more effective shots. That's all well and good. But when you're fighting a guy with high volume and you can't keep him off of you, that's when it's going to become a problem. And we saw that with Cuadras to a point where Cuadras was outworking Estrada in the first half of the fight. And, you know, Estrada left that very late to claw his way back into it. And essentially, he only won the fight because of a knockdown. He was very close to losing that fight, and he was being outworked in several rounds. It was like he couldn't get out of second gear for the first half of that fight. You know, and Estrada can't afford to do that against Rungvisai. He really needs to catch Rungvisai early with some good shots, hard shots, to make Rungvisai know that, you know, he can't just walk him down like he did against Gonzalez. Because I'm telling you, if you can't discourage Rungvisai, you're in for a long night. If you win, you're going to take some punishment. So, Estrada, I'm sure he can find the target. I'm sure that right hand down the pipe is going to be there. I'm sure jab for jab, he's going to be better than Rungvisai. You know, in terms of the technical boxing, he's going to be the better boxer, but it's all about keeping Rungvisai off of you. You know, it's all about keeping Rungvisai off of you. And can Estrada box on the back foot for 12 rounds against Rungvisai? I'm not entirely sure. That's not really his game plan. I've not really seen Estrada box strictly on the back foot. You know, he kind of mixes it up. So it really is going to be interesting to see how Estrada approaches this fight. I feel right away that this fight could be a controversial fight in terms of scoring. It could go either way, whether you like the pressure of Rungvisai or the clear sort of eye-catching punches from Estrada. I think this fight could be down to what you like. I think both guys hit hard enough to get a stoppage, especially Rungvisai. You know, he definitely brings enough pressure, and he does leave himself open enough to get hurt and dropped and knocked out. He's been knocked out before, so I find this fight extremely hard to call, and you can reflect that by the odds. I mean, at the end of last week, I think it was Sunday, I actually bet on Estrada, and Estrada was evens. He was the underdog at that point, but now Rungvisai is evens and Estrada's the underdog. So that goes to show what type of fight this is. It's a really closely matched fight. You know, both guys have been favourites throughout the betting process, and I actually put a little bit of money on Estrada just because I felt those odds were way too good to turn down. Really good fight. I love this fight. It's hard to call, but I think I'm just about going to lean towards Estrada. I just feel his better technique, his snappy counter punches, and all-round better boxing skills and acumen will probably see him through. But I wouldn't be surprised to see the pressure of Rungvisai get to him. I wouldn't be surprised at all. But ultimately, Estrada, I've seen the guy hang with a prime Roman Gonzalez, and a lot of people felt he beat Roman Gonzalez, and that was the very best version of Gonzalez as far as I was concerned. So Estrada has proven himself actually at a higher level, in my opinion. He's fought Quadras, he's fought Brian Valoria, he fought Gonzalez at his best, like I said. You know, arguably you can still make the case that Estrada has the better resume, and he probably does. But it's going to be an interesting one. I'm not really seeing Estrada struggle too much with pressure in the past, so I'm gonna go with an Estrada win here. I'm gonna go with an Estrada points or late stoppage. What do you guys think about this fight? Peace.